Welcome to That Sunna Feeling, the podcast where beauty meets ambition, hosted by Brandy and Chanel, the founders of Sunna.
Here we peel back the layers of the beauty industry, offering insider tips, business strategies, and personal stories that inspire and educate you on the path to success in your spray tanning, teeth whitening, and beauty business.
Whether you're dreaming of launching your own venture, looking to expand your revenue streams, or simply curious about what goes into our products, we're here to guide you each step of the way.
From the fundamentals of picking your very first spray tan machine to building an empire from the ground up.
That Sunna Feeling is your go-to source for business motivation and knowledge.
All right, this podcast is pretty special. We have royalty here today. We have Shonna here today from Recreating Rays in Kansas. Our history with Shonna goes way back to 2018, and Brandy and I owe her big time because we went to the Association of Sunless Tanning Professionals, which Shonna started, and it was a convention, it was a trade show, and we went to year 2 in 2018, and we launched Sunna Smile in Vegas there. And since then, Shonna has been a dear friend to us. We have obviously stayed in touch, supported each other's businesses, and, usually we like to plug all the Instagram handles, all of that at the end, but I thought it would be really cool for everyone to check her out now. You're obviously probably on your phone listening, unless you're driving, don't look. But if you aren't driving, pull out your phone. You can check out her studio at Recreating Rays. And Shonna has 2 tanning studios now. She's completely stepped away from running them day to day. She has the right teams in place. So now she's focusing on coaching new businesses, women in that are a little farther ahead in their businesses that want to scale. And she has a really exciting program that's launching in a few months. So definitely follow her personal business page at Beauty Biz Life. And I had to get her to tell me this. It's beautybizlife.com. So stay tuned.
If you're in America, it's B-I-Z.
Oh, Zed. Oh, that's why you were laughing so hard at me. Of course. So Zed is Canadian and Z is American. So depending on which country you're listening from. So obviously we could talk about so many topics because, you have so much wisdom. We've talked about so many mistakes that we've all made. But today I want to focus on memberships because I know more than ever, everyone's telling all businesses have a membership, have a loyalty program. And I know you've tried so many variations. You were doing this before anybody was doing it. So you have all the pros and cons. So I want to, at the end, chat about why you settled on the one you did and why I wish I would have done that when I had my business. And I know Brandy, same thing, because the longevity of selling the memberships was always an issue for us. But let's start with the foundation. So in order to have a successful membership, what does somebody have to do before they launch their membership, in your opinion?
The most important thing we do, especially before we scale our businesses. So whether you're a solo artist, but if you're a solo artist who's looking to scale, the most important thing you can do is simplify. And it is an integral part of scaling a sunless business. So what we did and what I did was years ago, I started in my house. I was tanning in my basement. And before I moved into my first brick and mortar, I launched ASTP. Well, my business coach had actually recommended to me that I read this book called The Automatic Customer, and it's all about memberships. Well, ASTP was going to be a member-based business, so he said, hey, go read this. And what it talked about was simplifying things and making them easier for your customer. It talked about also memberships, obviously, right? But for me, simplifying meant one price. And this is kind of contradictory to what a lot of people do in our industry. But, a lot of the pricing models are built on UV, old school tanning salon pricing models. Get them in the door at a cheaper price. upsell, upcharge, raise that ticket price higher. For me, as I started to scale, it was like, whoa, it's hard to plan as an owner. It's hard to know what your average ticket price is going to be. And as a consumer, I don't really love going in someplace and thinking I'm getting something, for instance, a spray tan for $40. I walk out, I've been upcharged on all these things, and I've just paid $75 for a spray tan. And now what I'm thinking about that experience is completely different.
Yeah, I love that.
I decided a few years ago, okay, we are going to make everything one price. So whether you do a rapid solution, no matter what you choose, we want you to choose what is best for you, not what is cheapest. We have established what we think provides the best result for our clients based on our our environment, the fact that it's super dry here in the winters and it's super humid in the summers, things like that. So we established, okay, this is what our service looks like, and it costs $65. And whether you want an overnight solution, let's be honest, we all know that rapid solution, yeah, it costs you a little bit more, but not the amount of money that you're upcharging for it. Why not just get that amount for every single tan and have your client choose what's best for them in this situation today, not necessarily what's the cheapest? So simplifying, going to single pricing makes building a membership much easier as well.
I love that. Because yeah, there's too many options and you're just confusing your client, right? At the end of the day, you're the expert, and have that consultation when they're in your tanning room, not have them decide and be confused before they even get there. Okay, so let's talk about your first membership. And I know this is one I see a lot. It's one Brandy and I also did. So let's talk about that one first.
Yeah, so it started in my basement, and I wanted to, after reading that book, I really knew that I wanted to build a membership into my business. So at the time, a decade plus ago, around that time, everybody was doing the unlimited. So unlimited tans for $150 a month or whatever the price may have been. And to me, unlimited means unlimited. So I, first of all, only have so many hours in a day to tan. And secondly, you tell somebody they can come in whenever they want, they're going to come in whenever they want. And that is not necessarily a great thing. They're getting tan built up on them. It's not a cute look, right? We don't want that walking around as our advertisement. So for me, I never even entertained the idea of a unlimited membership. So the first thing I did was like you said, I did, at the time, my tans were $40, and I did 2 tans a month for $60. What that did was it told me, okay, my goal was I want to get enough members to be able to pay rent on my first brick and mortar. So I knew if I could get close to that number, I would feel so much more comfortable going and signing a lease for $2,500 a month and believing that, okay, I'm going to at least be able to pay this every month. I think when you start to scale, you get really freaked out about the money. And so to me, that made the most sense. By the time I had enough members, I signed a lease, moved in, hired my first employee, and it just gave me a foundation. Now, it was great when it was just me. It was a pricing strategy that I think is good for solo artists. It can bring in more money, a higher auto draft amount. So that's great. However, if your intention is to scale your business, you will run into issues with that pricing model.
So what are some of the cons? Like, I know one of the cons being you're not getting tips every time, right? You've always talked about that. So
yeah, I think that was my first red flag. I had my first employee. She was part-time, right? Worked a couple of shifts a week, but a member would come in and tan with her, and she would be like, oh, they didn't tip me. Well, gratuity was a big portion of her pay. And so that's a big deal. If she's getting these full price tan gratuities and then getting zero because the person has paid their auto draft, right? In their mind, I've paid for my 2 tans a month. So they were coming in, not being prompted to pay anything, not being prompted to tip. It's an awkward situation. She's not going to sit there and be like, hey, do you want to leave me a gratuity? Right. That was when my brain kind of started working like, okay, this isn't going to work long term. I want to keep scaling. I want to keep adding more employees. And this maybe isn't the best idea.
And then how do you roll into, I know the other thing was like rolling the tans, right? So if you're paying for 2 tans, you expect to get those 2 tans. So what if I only came one time? Then people are asking if they can roll the tans.
Depending on your your booking system or whatever you're using on your back end, like tracking that can become a nightmare. People would not use any tans for months, then realize they've been being charged all this money. And me being who I am, just as a person, they'd be like, Shonna, I've spent $300 and I haven't gotten a single tan. I'm like, okay, well, let's take care of that. I'll give you a credit, blah, blah, blah. It just became a nightmare. And honestly, it's a little harder to sell because it is a higher price point. And you are saying, okay, this is great if you're tanning twice a month. People have to really think about that. Like, am I going to tan twice a month? Do I have enough events? We're trying to make a lifestyle tanner out of them, but they're still thinking of it mostly as a special occasion thing when they're first signing up. And so for them, they have to know, okay, yeah, I am going to use this 2 times a month. There's more friction in the brain when you're trying to sell it that way.
And it's easier seasonally, right? When everyone's in that busy season of weddings and your, get-togethers, those summer months, especially for us that have those like warm season and cold seasons,
Right.
People are going to be more likely to want to stack those up during the summer season than cancel come fall. But as a tanner, we want that money all year round to be able to help us float cash flow in our business.
Oh, for sure. Cash flow is everything in an incredibly seasonal business. And so as you scale, you need cash flow and you want that reassurance of, okay, I'm going to be collecting this money every month.
Okay, so let's talk about now what your membership is now. And I know we talk about it all the time. And then Brady and I always feel like it's the Shonna method. We're like, go check out our website because we don't want to take any credit for it, but it's just so brilliant. So I will let you explain what your membership is now today.
I appreciate that. I am yet to coach someone, meet someone who has implemented this and it hasn't worked well for them. So it's probably my proudest moment as a spray tan business owner is coming up with this system. But really, as I added employees and I knew that I needed a membership, I just kind of went back to the drawing board and what strategy could work. So I started thinking about Netflix and, Amazon and all these businesses that have a membership program, streaming services, all of those. And they're all in the $20 to $25 a month range. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't give a tan for $20 or $25 a month. But that price point makes so much sense because people see that and there's less friction already. Like, oh, 20 or $25. Everything I do on a membership is 20 or $25. So, okay, we've created less friction. Okay, but how am I then going to still be profitable? I'm not doing a tan for $20. So I came up with 50% off of services when after you pay that $20 or $25. So that's a membership fee. you get nothing for that except for the right to receive services for 50% off. And the key to this pricing method, I think, and to selling it, is to keep that price where 110 per month, you save money. So for instance, for us, our TAMs are $65 now. So we charge $25 per month and then 50% off. That makes 110 a month, $57.50. So you've come in one time, you have saved $7.50. Now the key is too, the more you tan, the more you save. So if you are someone who wants to be a regular tanner, you can save significant money. So if you're doing our program at our price point and you tan weekly, so 4 times a month, you're saving $105 a month. Okay,
Crazy.
that's significant, crazy savings, right? And that's what we're trying to create, is we're trying to make this a lifestyle. We want people to come in every week. But the vast majority of our members do not come in weekly. We see them 1 to 2 times a month. Okay, well, they're still saving money and it's a win-win. We get that known income every single month, which allows me as the business owner to, plan and project and do all these things a lot easier. When we just opened our second studio, it was, okay, what's the rent and how many memberships do I have to sell to pay that every month, right? And as you're scaling too, this membership model brings people through your doors more often, which keeps your staff busier, which keeps your staff happier. So
big time. And you do a lot more other perks for members. Can you talk about all the other perks that members get once they sign up?
So now we are offering them $99 teeth whitening. So our teeth whitening is $150. Members get it for $99. 20% off our Recreating Rays branded retail, 10% off all other retail. We also have a Versa Spa, and they can get 50% off Versa Spa services as well. So I think, and we just added free tan during your birthday month for members. And then also a members only referral program where they can get 50% off cards to give to their friends. And they get a $10 service credit for every one of those that comes in.
That's a great idea. I love that.
So we're always just trying to think of how we can kind of elevate the experience. These are our most loyal clients. So we love these people, right? So how do we get more of them and how do we keep them?
Yeah. And I know there's somebody in our Son of Fam, Vanity Vault, and I know she's coached with you before and she has the membership program, but she's also added community in there. So every month she also does some kind of community special to kind of bring that community into her business, which I think is so brilliant too. And there's so many of those ideas that you can add depending on what else you have in your business, right?
Right,
so
for sure.
I love that.
And this way, every time they come through the door, they are being asked to tip. So now the other thing that people get afraid of as they're scaling and they're hiring is, are my employees going to want to tan the members because the tip is going to be lower? They're paying less. And so typically they're going to tip 20% on that, lower amount versus full price. So to alleviate that, we created a tip share program. We do a tip pool for all of our staff and our artists. And then it just gets divided out. So everybody gets the same tip amount for every single tan that happens during that week. And that has that prevents I don't want to tan members, or I don't want to tan her, or that's my client because she tips a lot.
That's so smart.
Where she's not necessarily getting any better of a service, just some people tip a lot and some people don't tip at all, right? And I never wanted to have an environment where it's like, I don't want to tan her, she doesn't tip, So this way, everybody gets the same thing. Everybody is doing their jobs. They're all doing it well. And it creates an environment of teamwork. And that way nobody is getting gypped doing member tans.
Okay, I want to talk about, and Brandy, you might have questions too that I've missed, but I want to talk about packages because I know, people have wedding packages, they have punch cards. I know I had punch cards, and I know you have such a strong opinion on this. And I think it's good, whether people still want to do it or they don't want to do it. I think it's really good to hear your opinion on it. So when people are making these decisions, they're not confusing people. So,
I'm very anti that because I'm trying to create loyalty through a program that boosts up my bottom line every single month. I believe that the vast majority of people that we see, I know after 13 years doing this, the vast majority of people we are going to see 1 to 3 times a year. And um, I don't believe in giving them a discount for coming in 3 times a year. They're going to come to us no matter what. If we provide a fantastic service, I always say we're not really in the business of poaching clients or trying to lure clients from other spray tan artists, because I really believe that if you are a spray tan artist and you provide a great service, you've now earned that client. And so we're in the business of getting people who have never tried this before. And so when you offer them a package, it's great. It feels good. Like you just made a big sale, right? Or a bigger sale. It doesn't feel so good when they come in and redeem those tans and you're like, "Meh, meh, meh, I already got my money for this. I'm not getting a tip probably." People get all in their heads about that. Um, but also I just think that you're gypping yourself, essentially. These people, if they have a good experience, they're going to come to you, whether they're saving $5 or $10 on their tan or not. And so when you offer a package, you're decreasing your profit. And also, it makes it much harder to sell a membership. But when the only way you can get a discount is with a membership and they love your service, it makes it a lot easier.
So how are you and your staff telling clients about that? Because I know, like, to me, that's obvious. Like, every time a client comes up, I would bring it up. I'd have the pricing there. I'd bring it up. To me, that's like, but a lot of people have problems with talking about what sales and what they're offering. And
We are no different there. Okay. So me and my staff, we are anti-sales people. We are not good at it. However, we have 250 members right now, so we must be okay at it, right? Um, so we have multiple avenues of talking about it. First and foremost, after every new client comes in, 2 days after their service, they receive an automated email talking about the membership. We consider this to be like prime time to catch them, right? Like, hey, you just came in. It's 2 days later. Your tan looks amazing and you're feeling yourself right now and loving the way you look. Let's capture that confidence all the time. Here's an offer, right? So that's number one. Number two, we look at our manager goes in actually every day and looks at who has appointments that day. If they have been in 2 to 3 times in the last maybe 6 months, she notes their account that it's a lead. And so the artist is prompted to talk to them about the membership. Hey, we see you've been in here a few times. Do you know about our membership? This is a great way to save money. The only way you can save money, but you can turn this into more of a lifestyle type experience. Then we do also at our front desk when people check in or we typically check out in the rooms. Sometimes they'll check out at the front desk, but we have, a sign that talks about it. We have posters in our rooms that they are staring at during their tan that talk about the membership. So we have a lot of different touch points to encourage, conversation about the membership, even without employing people who are great at sales.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think makes people buy the most? Which avenue?
Oh, definitely talking to them while they're in, right? So, and I think also that when it's a bride, okay, someone comes in and they just got engaged and they're getting this hand for their engagement photos or whatever, their engagement party. Boom. The easiest time to sell someone a membership. They have a year's worth of events coming up. And so they are like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to be in here once a month. Let's do it. Or twice a month. Or, so I don't believe in discounting 2 tans to a bride. That doesn't make any sense to me because they're going to come to me no matter what if we do a great job. So that doesn't benefit the business long term. A membership does.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Shonna, my question to you is, do your members, is there a time limit, a contract?
Yes.
What is that? Yeah. What is that?
6 months.
Okay.
So we require 6 months. I've had a lot of my coaching clients require 3 months because they're just trying to launch this and get it going. And they're going to, see, are people staying on after that 3 months? But for us, it's 6 months. That's $150 total of spend for them. So it's not an astronomical amount of money. I feel like I'm giving you an exceptional deal on spray tans, and this is all I ask of in return. It's a win-win.
And then what happens? Do you have, obviously you take a credit card, right? So if that credit card fails, is that your office manager that deals with that? Do you guys have a high rate of that, or how does that work for you?
It doesn't happen a lot. Obviously now with credit card theft and things like that, there are a lot of, you have a card on file, it's declining because it was stolen, and now you have a new card and you haven't thought about your recreating Raise membership and updating, right? Our booking system we use, which is MindBody, they actually do have an automated system that will tell the person whether their card is expiring. It will reach out to them automatically before it tries to run the transaction to say, your card is expired. Please update your billing. At the end of the day, this is sort of my approach to this is I'm not going to go sue someone for $150, right? So if they are 3 months into their contract and they fall off the face of the earth and we can't get a hold of them, we will, our manager will follow up if we don't have updated billing information. All of ours run on the first of the month. So it's very easy. Okay, here's the report. Here's what didn't go. Let's reach out to these people and try to get this updated. If they ghost us, I'm not going to go chase them down. It's just not who I am as an owner. So sure, they may have gotten a few months worth of a great deal. It is what it is. And I just keep it moving. We block them and we have had it happen where we block people and then they reach out and they're like, oh, I want to book an appointment. Oh, well, it says here that you didn't fulfill your, membership contract. Oh, so yeah. And we get to have that conversation.
So you said that you take payment every month on the first of the month to make it a lot easier for you, which is awesome. But how do you deal with it during the month, when people are signing up? So they're for their appointment. It's mid-month. I want to sign up. So they'll get the deal that day, but their $25 won't happen until the first. Is that how it works?
No, they are charged that day for their first month of membership because they're going to save that day.
Ah, see, and I love that.
So
that
just
makes
by
sense.
doing it, just by signing up, you're going to save money today. So we go ahead and charge them for their first month and charge them half price for their tan. And then it's set up in our system to bill them on the first of the next month. So even if today on the 28th, somebody decides they want to sign up for a membership, they're going to pay today and they're going to pay again on the first. But
it makes complete sense.
No problem.
Yeah.
And then I get all my money on the 1st and my rent comes out on the 5th. So
Makes sense. Win-win. I love it.
I love it.
I just wanted to add, in the beginning, you were talking about the tanning industry, obviously the UV industry and that model. And sure, we're in the tanning industry as well, but our businesses are completely set up differently. I mean,
For sure.
like 15, 20 years ago when UV beds were all the rage, really, like you said, like coming in, again, there were all these booths that didn't require manpower, really.
Right.
I mean, cleaning and all that. But the whole job of the reception and the person that was running those booths was to upsell on retail. That this retail is like had crazy margins. Like it was, I mean, back you'd buy $75, $80 tanning lotions that had a cost of like literally $5. And nowadays, obviously, we are in the business of selling retail, but they don't have those kinds of margins, and it's just a totally different product, different business. So yeah, it's so funny how I think so many people, I know I was guilty of that too when I was, first initially thinking about memberships, and then you look to the tanning industry and just this whole the way it's set up just doesn't make sense. And I just wanted to wrap that up, what you said about like Netflix and looking outside of your industry and seeing, okay, like what are these other people doing and how can I adopt what they're doing for what works for me? And I think that there's such a powerful lesson there that I wanted to just point out. So yeah.
Well, thank you.
And to thank you as well, because I know, it's been a journey. And like Chanel and I said, we got our membership plan and idea from you at ASTP. We both implemented, variations of what you first preached. And I know it's been a journey. And I think that people nowadays have such an opportunity. Everything that you've talked about today, there's so many lessons here. And I would advise absolutely everybody listening to take this advice. Don't just have it go in one ear and out the other. Everything that Shonna has said here is absolute pure gold. And if you set up your business right and you create that foundation, you don't have to worry about constantly evolving and changing when there's a proven formula right there. Like we are proof that it's exhausting, right? And now what's amazing about this opportunity of people starting now or implementing some of these things now is that they work. Like why go backwards when you can just take something that's working and move forward? So
yeah, early adoption of this would be a game changer, right?
Yeah, it would be.
Well, it has definitely changed my business, right? And allowed me to scale to 2 locations, 25 staff. Like these are things in my basement that I never could have fathomed. Like doing spray tans only, like, no, I didn't think I could ever make as much money as I make. I didn't think I could ever employ as many women as I employ. And, creating this has just been a foundation to build on. And, every person who comes through your door is right for you to sell this to. When you get out of your own way and you start second guessing and, oh, Shonna, people have said, well, it's only $25 a month. Well, when you have 250 members, it's not just $25 a month, right? But that's why I say too, it depends on your goals. If you're a solo artist, it may be better for you to try to sell the higher price option. But for us, and when you're ready to scale, simplify, and then use an easy membership method like this, and you'll see. I've had so many coaching clients recently implement this, and they're getting in our group and they're like, oh, I sold 25 memberships so far, and it's so exciting because people see what it can do for their business.
Thank you, Shonna. This was awesome. This is going to be a favorite episode.
I appreciate you girls so much. You have been just the greatest friends to me and inspiration. And I know you two are very much like me and Amanda, my right-hand girl, visionary and integrator. And I appreciate you for believing in me in the ASTP days and investing in me in that group, and then continuing our friendship beyond that. So thank you.
I love that. Collaboration over competition.
Amen. Always.
Amen. Thank you for listening.